Good afternoon. Welcome to the premiere episode of Tribune Now's newest show, PAIRfect. This is a show where Daily Tribune connects with top business people to talk about the latest industry issues. Our first ever guests are Angeline, Angkas CEO and founder, and George Royeca, Chief Transport Advocate. Welcome to PAIRfect.
Thank
you
you.
for having us
Thank you for
here.
having us.
My name is Dina, and I'm here with Chito. Hello.
Thank you, Ma'am Dina, Sir Chito. Kamusta po
So
kayo?
let's get
it's our
right to
pleasure.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
so-
Angkas.
Uncas is
Yes.
The problems, I guess, have been resolved. So, most of the problems have been resolved. So how's the dry run now?
So marami pa rin pong I guess introduction in terms of how we're setting up the regulations. We've had already mga dalawang technical working group meetings since Congress and Senate hearings. Marami na pong coordination ngayon with the other agencies as well. So prepping tayo. Prepping po tayo for the next couple of weeks so that we can really get to the meat of the actual pilot.
What's the shape of the law that you plan or you are suggesting that that Congress would craft so that you can smoothly operate?
So there are actually 16 bills right now that are pending, 16 House bills that are pending in Congress, and there's about 4 Senate bills that are pending in the Senate. Primarily, this amends a provision in Republic Act 4136, which is the traffic code, to allow motorcycles or private motorcycles to be allowed to ply the streets for hire. So basically, that's yun yung point of contention ng maraming mambabatas natin. And hopefully po, with this study, we get to go deeper onto the issue na hindi lang po simple amendment, pero ano yung magiging patakaran rather than just specifically amending that provision.
You were saying, when we were talking downstairs, you were saying that the law is needed for Angkas to expand to other provinces or parts of the country.
Well, I think now, we really want to focus on professionalizing the industry. And if you want to professionalize the industry, I can't just look at Angkas. Hindi pwedeng iniisip ko lang yung kumpanya ko eh. Kailangan yan magkaroon po ng standard so that kung meron mong maliit na kumpanya o malaking kumpanya pumasok sa Mindanao or Visayas, there's already a set rules and regulations on how to conduct it. Because no matter what happens, the industry is one industry. Ano man pong mangyari sa apari hanggang hulo, aapektuhan po yung Metro Manila. So dapat po standardize po lahat ng gagawin natin.
I think it's very interesting that Angkas started it out for everybody, right?
Yeah.
So what can you say about how Angkas has, set the stone for this industry to move?
So what we're doing is nothing new, right? We're basically trying to professionalize an existing service, the habal, that's been around for 20, some even say 40 years, right? It's widespread, and we decided that using technology as a platform, you can now make it safer, right? By professionally the drivers, making sure they get training, you do background checks, they have the correct paperwork in place, do inspection of their bikes, insurance, proper safety gear, right? But that's just the start of it, right? The heart of it is safety is really at the core of our business.
Of course.
And that's something that we impart to our drivers through the training and
Retraining.
That was a concern from the very beginning when you
Yes.
started it. You
yes.
started it 4 years ago, am I right?
Yeah. 3.
3.
3 years ago.
4 na yata. 2020 na.
Yeah.
How was that?
Magpo-4 na.
How do you
Yes.
start a
2016.
motorcycle business
Oh my God.
company like
Alam mo,
that?
super funny because when we started this business, we didn't know that there's such a big negative connotation on motorcycles. So we thought that it was just natural because it was happening in other parts of the region.
Yes.
Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, it was
Yes.
commonplace. But when it happened here, our top passengers, we asked them, hey, can you help us post on Facebook? Said no. Bakit? Nakakahiya eh. So, ayaw nilang malaman ng tao nagmamotor sila or yung lola
So
nila.
that was the first concern or problem or hurdle that you had to
And papagalitan sila ni lola. Kasi
Oh,
bakit
yes.
ka nagmamotor?
Lalo
It's
na
so
pag babae,
unsafe.
diba?
Yeah. So, It was really a bad connotation, and it took a lot of effort for us to kind of change that mindset. Ngayon naman, problema namin, lahat ng tao nagsi-selfie na pag motorcycle taxi. Bawal din yun. Please stop doing that. To all our fans, thank you, pero please, no cell phones while riding a
So
motorcycle.
from the day you started to now, how big is the network now for Angkas?
We
How
have
big is
about
that?
3 million downloads to date, and
Wow.
about 27,000 bikers. So,
Twen-
you know,
27,000.
And you
Yes.
operate in Metro Manila
Metro
and,
Cebu.
in some provinces?
Yeah.
Metro Cebu,
Metro Cebu.
and now we've the pilot just opened up to Cagayan de Oro, so we can start operating there again.
Okay.
Yes.
So you have how many number of bikes?
27,000.
27,000.
But we
is that
fail
still-
60 to 70% of our
Right.
applicants. So we've
Yeah.
actually trained over about 120,000 for free.
For
To just because it's not easy to pass.
What goes
I-
in this training? If I may
so
ask?
you need to basically one take training on how to use the app, how to deal with customers.
Right.
We have a harassment training module as well, and then also you need to know the most important thing is a safety mindset, right? Because actually
Primary.
one of the most dangerous things of being on a bike is being overconfident. So thinking that you can handle it when you actually can't.
So no selfies.
No selfies, exactly. So
Yes.
that's into the training. Really, that mindset of you're responsible for somebody else, who you may not know. So you also need to anticipate that this person might react in different ways. That you need to be prepared for that as well.
You know, there are 18.8 million motorcycles in this country, and there's 3 million cars, and 50% of the cars is in Metro Manila. So if you're gonna look at Philippines, we are a motorcycle country. The problem is 99% of that, did not go to any formal training.
Well, there's only one school in this country.
There's one
so-
school. There's the Honda Safety Driving School.
Yeah.
They take maybe about 50 to 100 a day. It's a far cry. We've trained 120,000. Malayo pa rin yun sa 18 million. And the problem there is really the mindset. So even if we've trained them, tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung training eh. So during the course of the pilot, we had about 50 field trainings, retraining, and we've retrained 20,000 of the 27,000 again and again and again.
Okay.
From, customer service to reckless driving. So imagine, ang perspective po ng Pinoy sa motor ay tricycle. Yun po yung perspective. So pag naka-tricycle po tayo, walang helmet yan. Pag naka-tricycle po tayo, marami pong sakay, hindi lang po isa. Pag naka-tricycle tayo, wala po tayong pakialam kung mahuhulog yung tricycle o hindi. So yun po yung ating perspektibo. And when you take out the sidecar, unfortunately, ang tingin po natin sa motorcycle, tricycle pa rin. So that's where the problem lies, no? So more than just skill, it's really a mindset change. It's a generational mindset change. If you're gonna start plying the streets with motorcycle, you can't look at it as something that will never fall and need a helmet. 50% of all fatalities from accidents are motorcycle related. And according to the World Health Organization, their global safety study recently was conducted, I think, in 2018 or 2019. 90% is caused because of the lack of helmet or no helmet use. So something
Improper
that's simple.
helmet use.
Improper. Lack of helmet and improper
Yes.
helmet use. Yes.
Or improper helmets.
Yes. Or improper
it's not-
helmet.
Yeah, sometimes it's a bicycle
Caldero.
helmet, right? A lot of times people carry helmets, but for baon, it's
Yes.
yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Have you been successful on that end?
Well, every single
Promoting-
ride definitely has a helmet, at least for that, no? But then, I mean, success is very relative. I would like to say that we've had some success in terms of changing the mindset, but then if you talk about in reference to the entire country, maliit na maliit po ang angkas compared to habal-habal. In Metro Manila alone, we're looking at about, based on our research, there's already 200 terminals for habal-habal here. And, unfortunately, it's not so stringent, no? I mean, a lot of them don't have formal training, and hopefully, because of what's happening with the study, the pilot, and anticipating its success, pag naging batas po to, then dapat po dadaan na lahat dun sa yung stringent standards po natin for safety.
Kasi despite the popularity of Angkas, yun ang first question ng mga riders, yung safety.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, so that should be addressed by Angkas?
So, fortunately naman po, we're very proud of our safety record, no? Because of the training that we're doing, we have a 99.997 safety record percent, no? So, 0.003% accident rate. So, marami nagsasabi na mas safe kami sa condom kasi yung condom 98% lang po yun. Kami 99.997. But kidding aside,
Speaking of them,
nalilihis tayo. Kidding aside, I mean, yeah, safety is really at the core for anything that we do. But then we can't do it alone. Like I said, there are 18 million motorcycles, and we're a very, very long way to go. And hopefully, the entire industry comes together, and that's what's happening now
But
to
it's
be
not
able
just
to push
it's not
this.
just about motorcycles. It's also about cars and coexistence on the roads
Yes.
with motorcycles.
Infrastructure,
Road
Infrastructure,
safety.
right? Having bike lanes. You know, we've also run passenger safety campaigns because being safe on the bike is not just the responsibility of the biker. It's also the responsibility of the co-rider, the passenger. Because if you don't, for example, if you hold a person's shoulders, for example, and you get scared, when you turn, you will turn the whole bike as well because that's how,
Bawal yun eh, sa
right?
soul.
So these are little things that can impact safety. If a passenger falls asleep on the bike, that's also a problem because you can cause the
Drunk
crash.
passengers.
Yes.
Nako, maraming
Yes.
mga ganyan dati. I mean, ang dami po namin pinagdaan over the last 3 years, and talagang it's been quite a journey, very enlightening, and
that's what I'm interested in actually, the past 3 years, because it seems to me Angkas rose into our consciousness suddenly, like last year. Angkas is all we heard, diba?
Right.
So, parang what did it take for you to get there? Because I don't know if in business if is that fast, like 3 years to get this.
Yeah.
Diba? How did you manage
Getting
that? You
to
look so young. You're
consciousness of-
both so young.
Thank
Mukha
you.
lang.
You're
Changing
we
mindsets.
look young.
You're creating this business that's now going nationwide. So what does it take?
You created the
Well,
alien.
it took I think a little bit of ignorance about the
We wouldn't have done it.
if we knew how the weight of the problem. It was a national issue in terms of the safety of all habal
So you had
habals.
no idea that this
No
would
idea.
open like this.
No.
So what was your
What was in your
when
mind?
you formed the
Yeah, what was
Well,
going on in your mind?
There's no traffic in Singapore, right? And then she hates traffic.
Right.
And then lagi kami nag-aaway niyan because, I was always telling her, the issue is not really the traffic. The issue is the inconsistency. Kasi minsan walang ka-traffic. Minsan sobrang daming traffic. So, when we leave Singapore to go to the Philippines, we always leave the house exactly 1 hour and a half before. Kasi it takes 30 minutes to get to the airport. Any day yan, Monday to Sunday. Ngayon naman, we live in Makati and the airport is very near. It's about maybe 5 kilometers away.
Right.
So I always tell her to leave. We have to leave at least 2 to 3 hours before. And she was like, why? So minsan, pag walang traffic, 15 minutes nandun na kami. So nakatanga kami. Sa isa't isa, galit na galit sa akin. Tapos naman, minsan naman, barely in the nick of time. It takes us 2 hours to get there. We just make it. So, this inconsistency is really, it's crippling eh. It's funny to us now, but it's really crippling the quality of life of every Filipino. I'll give you an example. Relationship. If you're living in Alabang and you're looking for a boyfriend, wala na sa Quezon City, long distance relationship na yan. Nakakatawa, but that could be your future family. Diba? What about school? Ako, I have a car and a driver, fortunately. But a lot of our countrymen, they don't look at school for the merit. What do they say? Kawawa yung bata.
So yung malapit.
Yung malapit na lang kasi everyday magko-commute yung bata. For work, gulat to. When we change offices, we move from Makati to Pasig. A lot of our managers quit because of the daily commute. So all of our major life decisions, career, school, family, boyfriend, girlfriend, are all in relation to geography and traffic.
Even friends. I mean,
Even friends.
Even for me, right? Because I'm Singaporean. I couldn't make be close friends with his friends who lived in
Yes.
Green Hills, di ba? Hassle na yun. So,
Which brings me to my next question is so important. How did you meet?
That's the most
Geographically
important
speaking,
thing.
you're
Yes,
Singaporean and you're Filipino.
Yeah.
We met at a bar.
No, we met at a business conference.
I think I like your version.
I know, right? People always like my version better.
No, it was a business conference. We decided because we were sponsoring that event for the Singapore government. They were bringing in entrepreneurs here, and we were sponsoring. We were hosting them. So we decided na imbis na we do something different. So imbis na gawin natin sa conference na hotel, gano'n, gawin natin sa isang bar para masaya. So doon kami nagkakilala. So tama siya, bar, pero conference, business conference talaga.
So it's the first time in the Philippines, and we were introduced by the Singapore government.
Yes, I was
A
a
trusted business
trusted partner of the Singapore government. Now,
That's a story.
yes.
And then
Very
what
romantic.
happened?
What happened?
Yeah, I think 5 drunk days later. Yeah.
Filipinos can drink. Boy and girl.
Any age.
Wow.
You're referring to him?
Everyone.
Okay, so you met and then you got along.
Yeah, I mean, I would fly back and forth to Singapore actually for work, right?
Okay.
So I had because we were working with the Singapore government, IDA specifically, which is the Infocom Development Authority. So it's all IT related.
Okay.
So I would travel back and forth, and that's where we kind of cultivated the relationship. And mahal kasi manligaw sa Singapore. So sabi ko, lumipat ka na Pilipinas.
And you said yes.
Very convenient.
Oo, diba?
What made you come to the Philippines? Aside from George.
I mean, I love the country. The people are so warm. And I think that's really something that endeared the Philippines to me.
That's
I
so
mean, of
nice.
course, home is where your heart is as well. But that really was the main reason. Yeah.
Great. Nice to hear. And how was it for you setting up a business like Angkas? in
Here?
the Philippines? Yes.
Lot of time.
I'm lucky to have a good team with me, so I think that's really important. So it was okay. It's not as straightforward, I have to say, right? but you just gotta do what you have to do to get things done. Yeah.
Do you have a business model for Angkas? Like you were talking earlier about the Indonesians and the Malaysians.
Yeah. No, I mean, she started Grab Bike. So parang dun yung expertise talagang na-cultivate. But they decided to, terminate the business. And we went on ahead and, pushed it further. But,
This is
kotse pati, if you're looking at the kind of like the platform, right? Whether your car or bike. From Uber to Lyft, to Grab, Gojek, Kareem, they're all pretty much the same. The only difference from 4 wheels and 2 wheels is the safety component. The problem kasi po ng 4 wheels, pag nabangga ka, kahit malubha yung bangga, pwedeng walang mangyayari sa'yo. You're naka-seatbelt ka, there's a lot of safety. You're encapsulated in 4 walls of protection. If you're in a motorcycle, even if it's a minor accident, you could have serious injuries. So that's where the difference lies, and that's where we've been advocating. Even from a regulatory standpoint, you cannot treat 4 wheels the same way as 2 wheels. It cannot be bound by the same laws, because there's a major safety concern for 2-wheel vehicles.
you have to franchise both the vehicle and the person.
The driver. Kasi ngayon po, di ba, sa ating mga franchising, whether it be bus, whether it be jeepney, yung kotse, taxi, yung po yung fina-franchise. Dapat po sa motorsiklo hindi po ganoon. Kasi yung tao yung importante, yung nagmomotor, hindi po yung vehicle, the equipment. Yeah.
Speaking of laws, diba, parang are you happy with the way things are progressing in Congress with these all these bills?
I think we're speaking candidly sa baba, no? I mean, honestly, the development of where we were 3 years ago to where it is now, super happy. Kasi right now, nire-recognize na po na kailangan po yung motorcycle taxi, whether it's interim para sa mga congested cities like Metro Manila, waiting for infrastructure to come in, or whether it becomes a feeder service na pag nandun na po yung mass transit natin. parang na-accept na po na pwede
Ang bilis
nating
nga
i-regulate. So, ang pinag-uusapan na lang po is paano. So, I'm very happy with that because, di ba, parang na-establish na natin, uy, okay to. So, with that, very thankful with the open-mindedness of just not the legislation, but the legislators, but also the executive branch, for opening this up. Secretary Togade made a big risk when he decided na, oy, sige nga, i-TWG natin to, buksan natin. And especially from where we were coming from. Kasi talaga pag sinabi mong habal-habal dati, Skylab yan di ba?
Skylab?
Yung sa side na.
Yung 10 persons per
It's a circus.
motorcycle.
It's a circus. Yeah.
Diba? So he, very thankful that, there were a lot of open-mindedness or a lot of policy decisions that were, not etched in stone, ika nga, diba? And really push this on to see whether we can, where we can take it.
On the other hand, have you thought about what you will do if ever things don't work out the way you want it?
Well, so I think the way we see it is more than just Angkas. What do we do with the colorum situation? Diba? So if we don't pass the law or if we don't have proper regulation, what do we do with them? Because lalaki at lalaki yan Like imagine now, before low-tech sila, right? Now they're on Facebook, right? So because they have access now to Facebook, the community is just gonna grow and grow and
I
grow.
think you have to explain how the Facebook habals work.
Yeah, well, basically, it's messenger, saan ka ma'am? Diba? Ito suot ko, ito plate number ko. Nag-nod sila dun sa likod. Diba? Maraming nagfi-Facebookan. So it's similar to us. It's still matching, pero kanya-kanyang
And there's no safety protocols around it. And no recourse if anything happens. Yes.
Right. So that's really the question for me. It's not really more on what will Angkas do, but if we are not able to move this forward, what framework do we work on in how to manage the growing national concern for colorum motorcycles that are plying the streets? I think that's more the important question. Yeah.
And what falls under is like chief transport advocate.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
advocate. Good transport. Sorry.
The fact that something exists, there should be a law to guide it, right?
Yes. Yeah, I really firmly believe that should be the case. Kasi hindi naman po natin matitigil Hindi talaga So, and we can't enforce because we don't have enough people to be able to enforce it on a regular basis. So, we need to make sure that we put the safety protocols in place for that.
How about the cap that the government has put?
I think the cap will always be there. I think the cap is a supply and demand issue. We get better and better at deciding what cap will provide a service to a particular demand. So the concept of cap is something that will stay, but then we just have to be sensitive to the market, and that's why we're conducting this study. And even long after the study, we'll get better at formulas to be able to determine how best to serve the existing demand.
But but it's also a good basis because the cap, where the cap comes from is from taxi franchising, right? Where there's a limit on the number of taxis you want on the road. But the fundamental difference between ride sharing and a proper taxi economy is that for ride sharing, it's you and me. Right? If we prove that we can pass the test and be responsible, can add credit to the platform, then we can drive. But it's as and when you want. So if you're feeling short on some money, you can drive for 2 days, 1 week, and then you can choose to not work for a month, or if you go overseas for a job, or you sell your bike, then you're no longer able to drive anymore. Whereas versus a taxi, there's always someone who's going to be paid to drive that taxi 24/7 every single day. Whether it's 2 drivers or 3 drivers, this taxi is always on the road, and that's the fundamental difference between these two industries. And I think that's something that
So essentially, pag
testing.
nakataxi po kayo, pag 50,000 yung cap ng taxi, yung 50,000 na taxi na sa daan yan. Kasi may relievo yan.
Yeah.
Tatlo yung driver niyan 24/7. Ganon din po jeepney natin, di ba? So, pag ride sharing economy, 70 to 90% of your fleet are part-timers. So if you're talking about 10,000 cap, ilang libo. Kami, 27,000 yung fleet
Oo.
namin. At any given time, we're talking about 5,000 on the road.
Is it still
Thereabouts.
27,000?
Thereabouts. So, ngayon, meron po
But your
tayo.
cup is just 21, right?
So, yung, di po, yung isang, na-redistribute na po yung sa isang player, nabigay po sa amin yung 5,000 initially. So, from 15,000, nasa 20 po kami.
20.
Tapos, meron pa po tayong 4-5 sa CDO at 4-5 sa Cebu. So, ang cap po natin na is more than 27,000 actually.
Okay. Now, that explains it. Kasi a lot of people are curious
Yes.
about that.
About the difference between the cup
Yes.
and
So the way
Actual riders.
meron po tayong redistribution. So if other players are not able to make their cap, that will be redistributed to players that are ready.
Right.
Yun po yung mangyayari.
What?
so it's a good thing that both of you are at that.
Yes. Well, thank you po. I mean, thank you for having us here and also being able to talk about this, no. Yung sarap ng kape dito sa Daily Tribune kaya
Oh, do you
talagang
know pala that this is the first time they're appearing together?
Yes.
Yes.
Unang beses.
Yes.
Great honor for us.
No, great honor and
Thank you
privilege
for
for
having
having us. Yeah.
Balik na naman ako dun sa di ba? Sa chisme sector. You know, because it's a motorcycle business, right? Do you ride a motorcycle?
Yes, I do. Actually, I'm an avid rider. Dati,
Ah,
ngayon puro
okay.
trabaho na lang. So it's
Okay.
funny because
Was it like a hobby or
yeah,
something?
I mean, I ride big bikes
I
on the weekends. I ride it with my group of friends. Yes. So and she rides actually. We're both HPG trained with MRST. So ito meron din siyang
Those are just
motorsiklo.
letters. Can you tell me what they mean?
Sorry. So Highway Patrol Group, meron po
Oh, okay.
silang parang civilian course for safety training. So we went through that course. So she went through Honda also. So yeah, so she's a
So
trained
somebody's
biker.
signaling us.
Alright. So yes, unfortunately we don't have enough time. I have so many questions.
Maybe we can invite them again.
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
We'd love
Of course,
to.
anytime.
Yes.
Anytime.
Another
Happy to be
session
here.
with you.
Basta may lugaw.
May lugaw.
So we hope you enjoy our initial show of PAIRfect, and we hope to see you again on Wednesday for another
For our next
For more
Next show.
episodes. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you everyone. Maraming
Thank
salamat.
you. Salamat.